Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we continue our talk about sexual education. And at this video I want to talk with you about sexual energy, as there are a lot of talks and discussions what is that. And it's always a very big question, what is sexual energy? So I want to synchronize with you about how we perceive sexual energy and how we are going to perceive it in our videos talking about sexual education. So if sexual energy is the energy of connection people while they have sex, and it reaches its peak when these people have the orgasm, why we are talking about so many aspects of sexual education, you can ask me. Why we are talking about music, about different etiquette and different types of setting the table, food, clothing, and all the stuff. How all that is connected to sexual energy. And it will be your reasonable question, because to give sexual education you need to understand what is that and what purpose we have to share all this knowledge with our young generation. The problem of our society nowadays that sexual education was reduced to technical skills of how to have sex. And it is the big problem because the sphere of feelings is almost completely closed. People are all the same in their inability to feel, to understand their feelings, to be aware of their feelings, to control their feelings. And the problem is that sexual education in the modern world is not connected with feelings at all. It doesn't imply the development of feelings. And feelings is the main sphere which must be developed if we are talking about sexual energy. And only if there is development of feelings, a person can become mature in this sphere. The ability to dominate your own feelings also gives the opportunity to move right in the society. After all, in the correct social realization of a person, he or she uses precisely the correct sexual energy. This, of course, not flirting or seduction, and it has nothing to do with studying the technical skills of sex. This is what they study in the sexual education of the younger generation nowadays. Intellectuality and correct understanding of open communication have gone from personal communication in our days, and what we have as a result. For example, if a man makes a compliment to a woman, she, instead of simply thanking him and being happy, immediately perceives it as an invitation to a date, and this date in her head has already ended with marriage and children. Or on the contrary, after the compliment, a woman blocks any opportunities for any interactions and any communication, believing that a compliment is not just pleasant words about her appearance or qualities, and this compliment was made by a polite person, but it was an intrusion into her personal zone with offers of intimate relations, for example, or something like that. The woman is sure that by the words of compliment, any man means precisely the desire to have sex and to have intimate relations. And of course, further communication simply does not happen. Ability to accept compliments correctly clearly shows that a person has good manners and correct sexual education. Sexual energy is the energy of uniting, of connecting. In this case, if we perceive it like that, if we perceive it in a correct way, it is not necessary to go through only the body level and touching. People can unite on different levels. In the creative process, in communication, in talking with people, when we unite with someone in thoughts, ideas, in a glance, we feel all the same energy of unification and inspiration. This energy is calm and creative. There is no crazy euphoria and uncontrolled behavior. It gives the person the opportunity to do his work, to do what he really must do, and fill his own place. This energy is like inspiration. It is light energy. When a person has to do something and to release this energy in some certain affair, that is to apply it, to create something using this energy. Therefore, if there is no sexual education, and sexual education is correct, healthy interaction patterns, and the person stops this energy, this is a very dangerous thing. This can lead to a halt in life situations and even problems with mentality, with psyche, and with health. Or, on the contrary, an inadequate, sharp use of this sexual energy for other purposes may also lead to problems. So, sexual energy is the energy when everything happens. It is the energy of life, or we can call it vital energy, the energy of interconnection. We can say that it's a really joyful, light, and very concentrated energy. And it's energy when you are curious about something, or it is so interesting for you to know something very important. It is the energy that you want to implement immediately in your life, creating something. And let's agree to call this energy the energy of interconnection. And yes, exactly this energy then later people need to have sex, to have open relations. Maybe it will sound surprising for you, or you will say how it can be like this, but it is all the same energy. It is this sexual energy, the energy of interconnection, and we'll talk about it all the time during our videos on this topic. And now I want to show you how this energy can go through the music, how it can be revealed in the music. There is one great misconception which I would like to mention in this video. You can find a lot of information in the internet that sexual energy can be sublimated into any other energy of the upper chakras, as it usually sounds. And therefore, in order to do something useful, we simply need to redirect this energy into a useful channel rather than spend aimlessly on sexual communication. Even there exist special techniques how to do it correctly. I will not talk about this in detail since it is easy to find such information on the internet, like sublimation of sexual energy into male or female power. So please, pay attention. The energy of sexual arousal, person's physical and chemical reactions, which is associated with the body, can't be sublimated in social energy or other types of energies. But sexual energy, that is the energy of association and interaction, the energy that we are going to talk about, it has the ability to be sublimated into other types of energies. But if you confuse these concepts and try to sublimate something that cannot be sublimated a priori, you can only get the strongest mental disorder. And what is even more interesting, what idea is being introduced into our consciousness? Listen, sublimation is the transition from the lower state to the higher state. The lower sexual impulses are transformed into higher spiritual impulses. It follows that sexual desire is initially seen as inferior, therefore bad, unworthy of a person. That is the idea of cutting off any sexual impulse as indecent, unworthy, is laid here. And here comes the evident stoppage of vital energy. And in fact, actually having sex in the correct form is a basic need, like food, sleeping, housing. Without food, of course, you can live, but not for a long time. It must be conscious, natural wish which is satisfied, but not general restrictions. Moreover, in this statement, sexual energy and creative energy are divided, are separated. They are opposed to each other, which is also fundamentally wrong. This is generally a big problem of modern world. For example, many people have a heart and head separated. The brain works really good, but there is no kindness and love inside, because the heart is closed. So please be very attentive and careful with all the statements that you see and hear in the internet or from other people. Try to think on your own. Is it good or bad for you? Is it useful for you or can be harmful for you? So we decided with you that sexual energy is the energy of interconnection, of open communication, of uniting, of association. It is joyful, light and concentrated energy, which is really calm and creative. So we'll perceive sexual energy like that and call it the energy of interconnection. And of course we understand that the rules of etiquette and the rules of communication we need to give to our children and grandchildren from the early age. And you need to know that only people who are open and who are ready to communicate with openness, who radiate this sexual energy, are interesting and, let's say, tasty to other people. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said that the only real luxury in our life is the luxury of open communication. So thank you for being with us today, and I'll see you next time in my videos talking about sexual education.